YouTube, it's your boy, Mr. Drip That Sauce everywhere I go. Mr. Take Your Whole Big Honcho Glow. Let's cut glow. Kid it on back again with a bang video, you know what I'm saying? Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Horror. Now, if you don't know what Friday Night Horror is, pretty much Friday Night Horror is every Friday we come together at the Glow Gang community. We are the best gang in the YouTube community. We sit down, smoke the runs to relax with each other, sip the Fiji water, and we react to scary videos with each other, you feel me? Now today we're gonna be reacting to 3 disturbing, true scary stories uploaded by Mr. Nightmare. But that's not talking, we're gonna dive straight into this video. If you're new to the channel, bro, what you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. You know you love these videos. Road to 10K, road to 100K, new vids every single day. Smash the like button for your boy. Go ahead, hit that like button for your boy. You know you love these videos, bro. Smash the like button. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Now, remember, these are true. Story 1.
I live in a small, peaceful town. I don't live in a place where you have to worry about walking alone at night. I share a one-story house with my sister, but she's hardly ever home. She has another place in Florida that she spends most of her time. There's about 100 to 200 feet between each house on my block, and then there's some woods across the street. I have a daily routine. I get home from work, make dinner, shower, relax a little, then go for a run, come back and have a light snack, then go to bed. It was a work night like any other. I was going for my nightly run, and when I came back to my house, there was a random white van parked across the street.
Oh, hell no.
I took notice of it because hardly ever would random cars park on any of these streets.
Especially a van.
The little neighborhood has
White
very
van.
little through traffic. I looked at it as I walked backwards to my front door, and I could tell there was someone sitting inside of it, though I couldn't see anything regarding what they were doing. I don't know if the glass was tinted or if it was just because it was dark out.
Bro, I'm finna see what's up with your ass.
Later that night, I was hearing some weird sounds coming from outside. It was like a scraping sound. I looked out my window and called out, "Hello?" and it stopped. I had no idea what it could be, but my first guess was the neighbor doing something in his yard. I went back to whatever I was doing, and that was the night. The following day was a Friday, the last day in my work week. After work, I did proceed with my regular schedule. I went on my nightly run a little earlier tonight since it was Friday and I had plans with some
Get your
friends.
ass a Planet Fitness.
I got back from my run, imagining the van to be there again, but it wasn't this time. I went out with my friends to a comedy club, and I didn't get back until late. I led myself into the house and locked the door. It was a long night and I was feeling tired, so I hurried up with the getting ready for bed process. After turning off the bedside light in my room and laying down, that's when things were finally silent enough for me to pick up on some weird thumping and rustling sounds. I felt like they were coming from inside of the walls. It's only a 2-bedroom house, it's not big. I put my ear up to one of the walls, and indeed heard something going on in there. I knocked on the wall, and the noises stopped. This was a cause for concern, as I assumed it was a rodent or a wild raccoon.
Get the blicky, shorty.
I went out to the living room, and passing by the windows, I looked outside and saw that white van parked outside again. I opened my front door and stepped out to the front stoop to look at the van. I didn't see anyone sitting in it this time. 2 nights in a row of this now. Something was going on. I walked barefoot to the side of my house to look for possible holes in the walls for animals to crawl through. And I came to the outside crawl space door. It was cracked open, and the lock was snapped off. I hadn't paid attention to this door in weeks. I pulled it open a little more, and without a phone or flashlight in my hands, all I could do was lean inside and squint my eyes in the pitch blackness of the crawl space.
Bro, somebody ain't your shit.
I heard the faintest little sounds of pebbles scraping against the concrete floor. At first, my naive mind was thinking it was an animal, until the sounds turned more aggressive and more closely resembled human footsteps marching to the crawlspace door. And then, just barely, I could see a person crouch walking towards me. I slammed the door and twisted the knob, but without a lock, it wouldn't do anything. I ran back inside my house and called the police. While on the phone, I instantly attributed the crawlspace door to the scraping sounds I heard the night before. The next time I went to the window while on the phone, the van in the street was gone. Police came and I showed them the crawl space. We had to use flashlights as the crawl space doesn't have any lights installed.
There's hella rats and bugs down there.
In the left corner, there were cut marks in the roof of the crawl space, as if the intruder was trying to saw his way into the house. The only info I could give them was the white van parked in front of the house. We don't have cameras, nor did I see what he or she even looked like. They never came back though. I'd imagine because I caught on to what was probably supposed to be a silent operation.
Oh God, bro, that's why you gotta get you a dog, bro. Get you a dog, a pit bull, a bully pit. Shit, get one of them scary ass, small ass chihuahuas or something, bro. Hell no, I ain't going. Story 2. Story 2.
My family has a summer home in Arapahoe National Forest of Colorado. It's a 7-hour drive from my home. I don't often go
I
with
plan
my
on going to
parents or
Colorado
siblings,
this
if
year.
ever.
To
I
link
go
up my
alone for
boy
the
Roddy
purpose
J.
of hunting
Johnson.
and detoxing. I've probably been up there a total of 40 times in my life. The last time I went was a few months ago, but I don't really like going alone anymore. Here's why. It was 2017. I just pulled my truck up the old dirt road onto the grass of the property. There's no real driveway. We just park wherever on the grass, really.
That's a nice ass
The house isn't
summer
huge.
home.
It's
No, I ain't
modest,
gonna lie
but
to you.
nice
That's
for a
dope.
vacation home.
I gotta bring me a vibe.
Parked up
there.
next to the front deck. This was in the dead of summer, but the breeze there was still nice and cool. I let myself into the house using the keypad lock. We don't use physical keys in fear of losing or forgetting them.
Keypad lock. Okay,
I was the first one there in quite some time, so I had to turn on the electricity and water heater. In the meantime, I unpacked and ate the lunch I brought with me. I also threw away
Nice
any
little
mouse
cozy
and bug
home.
traps that were left out.
I
That
feel that
caught
vibe.
mice
They got
and
all the
bugs.
seasons up
It's
there.
actually quite a problem in the house.
Okay.
After all of this was done, I started setting up my hunting gear, which my dad and I leave in a big back closet. By this point, the sun was on its way down. It was around 6 o'clock. The laughter from outside caught my attention. I marched from the kitchen to the living room to look out the big window that looked into the woods. I looked into the woods, and I didn't see anyone, so I cranked the heavy window open and listened. The laughter belonged to multiple children, like a small group. This was our property, though. That meant these kids were trespassing, probably up to no good.
Sorry, man.
I went outside
my
through the back door
neighborhood.
to the woods, trying to follow the laughter. It kept going deeper into the woods, and the laughter stayed the same distance away from me, though. Eventually, I gave up, because it seemed like the kids were running away anyway. The next day, while posted up in the tower that my dad built for deer hunting in the woods, I heard the sound of those kids laughing again. Noting that meant they were once again on our property, I decided to call my dad and ask what to do. He told me to chase them off the property if I saw them, so I shot around into the air. I forfeited any gain for the sole purpose of chasing the kids away, but it worked, of course. The sound of the laughing stopped right away. I knew now it would be pointless staying posted up in the tower, so I called it for the day and went back to the house. I wasn't feeling too well anyway. That night I slept with all the windows open to get some air circulating, maybe help me with my headache. And it came back. The sounds of the children.
What's that one scary movie? The children in the cornfield or some shit?
I climbed up the bed to look out the window. Of course, it was too dark out there. I had enough now, though. I grabbed my Winchester from the closet and a flashlight as well. I didn't have intentions of shooting kids, just scaring them off with a round or two. I went out the back door towards the woods again.
Harley poltergeist whole time.
The laughter was louder than any other time before now. It seemed like they were
What's that
20
one movie?
meters
The
away
children
at
in the
most.
maze, children in the corn.
I yelled in a
If y'all
strong,
if y'all know what I'm talking
voice
about,
to
let me know
get
in the
off my
comments.
land. I scanned the woods with my flashlight. It wasn't a very powerful one, though. God, every muscle in my body basically went limp when the volume of the laughter went from 30 to 100 in a matter of half a second. Then something landed on the ground next to me. It was an old-looking speaker. The sounds of kids laughing was blasting through it. I picked it up and threw it back in the woods, then aimed the light back in the woods. At one point, I'm still not sure of it though, I thought I saw a person standing at the edge of my light. I aimed my Winchester into the air and fired, then yelled a threat, like come any closer, the next round goes through your skull.
Damn.
And then ran back inside the back door and locked it. Closed
How
every
you
curtain.
gonna give a threat?
Considered calling the sheriff's department, but all the way up here, any police call would take at
I'm
least half
outside.
an hour to an hour.
And my ethical
I was better
draws.
off fleeing altogether.
With my Mac 11, my 40 in
As I
my
packed
hand.
my bag, I heard a smudge
Let a
in the
nigga
living
come on
room
this
window.
motherfucking porch.
I waited a
Blast
few
me
minutes in
your
an
ass.
idle
Your ass gonna
position
look like a
before
dolphin.
slightly moving the
Fuck you
curtains,
talking about?
revealing something
You know
written
what
in
I'm
blood on
saying?
the
You wear your
glass.
clothes right now.
I didn't take the time to read it. I finished packing my bag, took my gun, took a deep breath, and went outside. I locked the door with the code as quickly as possible, then ran for the car as if my life depended on it. I turned the car on and put it in drive before it had time to finish with those startup beeps. I spoke with my dad on the way home. He told me I was right to leave. Anything in the house wasn't worth my life. I stayed at a nearby motel that night. My dad came the next day. I met him at the house. Whatever was written on that window in blood was wiped completely off. The house wasn't broken into, and we couldn't find the speaker type thing that was thrown at me. We stayed a couple nights, then went home. I don't know who was out there or why they were targeting me. I really hope that blood was animal blood, though.
Shit. But that's some spooky shit, bro. Bro, believe it or not, Colorado, dude, they be having some school shooters, bro. No cap, bro. I think they just had like a shootout in Walmart or some shit recently. Well, Colorado be having some weird motherfuckers, bro. For real, bro. They can't be trusted. No cap. Story number 3.
I was home alone one weekend, house to myself. I had a couple friends over the first night, and I stayed up pretty late both nights.
This is like a Goosebumps
I was 14
house.
at the time. Just started high school, and my parents had just started trusting me enough to leave the house to myself.
Bro, I used to love
This
watching
was on a
Goosebumps,
Saturday
bro.
night.
Let me know in the
I was out
comments
with a
that
couple
down below.
friends
Should I
pretty
react to
late.
Goosebumps?
When we all decided to call it a night, I walked home by myself.
I just love watching Goosebumps.
Halfway through my walk home,
They
I
used
noticed
to
the car
scare
seemed to
me.
be following me. So I started to jog home. The car started flashing its lights. At this hour of the night, I could only assume potential danger, so I turned my jog into a full-fledged run.
Usain
I
Bolt.
ran all the way to my house and checked outside the windows. Moments later, the car from outside parked in front of the house and someone came out from the car.
Right, why would you
I
run
started
home?
running up to my front door. I started panicking. The doorbell started to ring. They started pounding on the door aggressively. I suddenly felt like my life was being threatened. I ran to my room, which is on the lower level of the house by the backyard. I tried to get my parents on the phone, but they wouldn't answer. They were definitely asleep. For a 14-year-old boy, I was scared to death. Now the intense knocking moved to my window instead of the front door. I screamed at them to go away, and they yelled something back, but it was muffled. I left my room to hide in my parents' room and called the police. I made a phone call explaining that I was followed home and someone was trying to break into my house. The banging started at my parents' bedroom window now, as if they somehow knew which room I was going to every time.
Damn, how the hell did he get on the roof? That
Go
big
away.
ass house you got?
The 911 dispatcher told me not to do that and to keep quiet and stay hidden. But the person banging on the glass started yelling through the closed window, and now I could hear more clearly what he was saying. He yelled there was a person in my house. Then he yelled someone followed me home and might be inside my house. Ignoring the 911 dispatcher, I went to the window and asked in a loud voice so he could hear me, "What are you talking about?" He yelled at me to call the police and stay locked inside of a room because someone followed me home and went to our backyard. I told the dispatcher exactly what the man yelled to me. She said don't trust him just yet and to stay in a locked room until the police would arrive at my front door. I didn't know whether the things the man was saying were true or not.
Bruh.
Not until he...
That shit right there be the most scariest thing, bruh. At that point, it's like, who the fuck do I trust? Nobody. Fuck you talking.
Heard footsteps outside my parents' bedroom near the living room. The footsteps clonked down the wooden floor of the bedroom hallway. I heard each door in the hall being opened until they got to my parents' bedroom door.
Damn.
The doorknob twisted, but since it was locked, obviously the door couldn't be pushed open. I hid in the closet as the person on the other side of the door started trying to most likely kick the door down. As all I heard were loud bangs.
That nigga had his Timbs on.
Eventually the bangs stopped. I imagine they gave up. I didn't hear footsteps walking away, but probably because I was in the closet. I was suggested the police try entering through the back, as that was apparently the point of entry most likely. They were able to enter through the front door though, as apparently the intruder left through the front. The back door was left ajar after the intruder smashed the glass panel on the door, allowing him to reach in and unlock it. I met the police in the living room. The man who was outside banging on the windows was also there. He told this whole story, that as I was walking home, he saw some older man crouching in bush after bush, following me in a manner that conveyed he meant harm. He followed me all the way to my house, as a matter of fact. That's why the guy in the car was following me, as well as flashing his lights. I called my mom, who picked up on the third try. I didn't want to call my dad because I was scared of how angry he'd be. I spoke with my mom on speakerphone, with the police listening and contributing reassuring words to my mom. The police dropped me off at a friend's house that night to sleep there, and my parents started driving home that night and got home early the next morning. A police officer parked outside our house for a few hours before driving off. Nothing was stolen at all to our knowledge. And if the intruder did break in to rob us, that means he really was just after me. And he came after me in my own house.
Savage. You know what I'm saying? But that was 3 disturbing, true, scary stories uploaded by Mr.Nightmare. Y'all let me know in the comments down below. Do y'all want more videos like that every Friday? Not every Friday, but you know, I'm gonna switch it up. But do y'all want more videos like that? If so, let me know in my comment section down below. And also let me know in the DMs, bro. I'm checking them right now. You know what I'm saying? But that's it for today's video. If you're new to the channel, bro, smash that subscribe button. Come join the gang. Smash the like button for your boy, you feel me? Follow me on my Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. There's gonna be a link in the description and right here to the bottom screen. I hope you have a peace, positive day. Peace, positive night. Take yours to the bad boy because we don't do no more. Dead. Please and chill, but you got it for that. Chill out the jacuzzi, dead. I love y'all. Okay. Blowing like